Ralph, good to see you. Hope you're well. First of all, what's the team news heading into Sunday?
We once again, unfortunately, have quite a few players missing and another couple of players with question marks. So we have to wait for tomorrow's last training session. But as it stands now, there will be quite a few players missing. But I'm still positive that we will have a strong starting lineup, a strong starting 11, and finish the season on a higher note than we did at Brighton. I'm positive that the players want to get things right and show and prove to everybody that they are capable to play a lot better than we did at Brighton. Yeah, and I'm also positive that they would much rather play in the Europa League than in the Conference League. For sure, they will have to play Thursday evening rather than Tuesday or Wednesday. But I think it's still a big difference if a club like Manchester United plays in Europa League rather than Conference League. You could see that the day before yesterday when Eintracht Frankfurt, who finished in the lower half of the table in the Bundesliga, won the Europa League, and by doing they qualified for the Champions League. I think for the first time, maybe even in club history, since the Champions League exists. And this should also be an incentive for everybody to make sure that we qualify for Europa League, the least on Sunday.
Who are the players you've got question marks over? And you mentioned the last outing. How important is it that you do finish on a high and you do have a good performance, given what we're coming off the back of?
Yeah, there are a few players definitely missing, but please understand that I don't want to name all those names right now. A few are still with question marks. Luke Shaw's wife gave birth to the second baby today, and he was supposed to be back for training tomorrow, but apparently he isn't. So we have to wait and see if he would be at least available for the bench on Sunday. In today's training, we had one or two players leaving the training session a little earlier because they just couldn't finish the session because they had problems. That was Jaden and Phil Jones. So we need to wait until after the session tomorrow.
Ralph, have you had any further discussions at all with Erik Ten Hag? We know he's in the country. Have you been involved in any dialogue with him? And will you meet up with him on Sunday? He's going to be at the game.
Yeah, we've been in contact via WhatsApp, and we hopefully will have the opportunity to speak and meet in person either over the weekend or on Monday morning at the latest. So I'm looking forward to speaking with him in person and getting to know him in person.
Just away from that, there's been a real issue this week with fans invading the pitch. Do you see this as something particular to England, given your experience of working abroad? Is it something that happens over there often? Is it something the authorities in this country need to get to grips with?
I think it's new. It hasn't happened in the last couple of years, as far as I know, at least not in Germany. But it also happened in Germany on a couple of occasions in the last weeks and months. So there seems to be, unfortunately, sort of a trend that this happens. I don't think. Once again, it depends what's happening then. But what happened, I didn't see it in person. But what happened yesterday at Goodison Park. If then coaches or players of the opposite team are being involved, I think as long as they celebrate with their own team, everything is okay, and as long as everything stays peaceful, it's also okay. But if other people are getting involved of the opposite team, I don't think that should happen.
Will you play any of the Youth Cup winning players? Obviously, that's one of the few positive things that's happened at this football club, and it happened since the Brighton game. Will some of them play this weekend?
Unfortunately, Alejandro was ill in the last couple of days. He was training with us until midweek last week, but then he had to drop out because he was ill. And I think today was the first training session. He was back again. He might well be in the squad, but I'm not sure if he's physically, after this illness, capable and fit enough to play.
Sorry, how frustrated have you been that you've not been able to find the answers to all the issues that you kept talking about, defensive issues, structural issues, not scoring goals when you needed to or as regularly? How frustrating has this period been for you?
Well, we spoke about that quite at length in the last couple of press conferences. I think we have to see it in different areas of periods of time. I think that until we dropped out against Atletico, and I think this was a vital blow, I think since then we've lost confidence, energy in the team. But until then, I think we stabilized the team defensively compared to the team that shipped 4 goals against Watford away. I think until that Atletico game, we were much more stable defensively. We also had a few games where we scored goals when we played well. We spoke about that. But what didn't happen, that this development happened in a sustainable way. So we couldn't keep that on a regular level. Either we had problems to score goals or we had problems to prevent goals from being scored against us. So this is, I think, since the Atletico game, since we lost against Atletico, we just didn't find our shape again, our form again. And this has got to do with confidence, a little bit also maybe with mentality, with team spirit, with togetherness. And we just fell short in those areas. And this is, for me, the biggest disappointment, that we didn't manage to develop, how shall I say, a certain team spirit that helped us even in the difficult parts of the game and the league. This happens also to other teams. This is, for me, the biggest issue in hindsight.
We've spoken a lot about the issues at the club over the last 6 months. What would you tell Erik ten Hag that are the positives that he will be getting?
I still strongly believe that there is a core of players who are top, who are well worth and good enough to play for this club. And hopefully most of those players will still be here next season. And as I said earlier on, if the board, Erik, the scouting department, and I will help them with all the issues that I can bring in to help them. If we bring in the right mentality players, the right quality players, I'm positive that we will be able to bring this club back, not only on track, but also back to the top. And this is what it's all about in the next couple of weeks. Maybe it will not happen and be possible in one transfer window, but I'm very positive that it can happen in the next 2 or 3 windows.
With your position, having now spoken briefly to Erik, do you have even more clarity on what it will be, how much he wants you to be involved?
Yeah, we spoke about that in detail, about all the different areas where I could maybe be of help. And I mean, it's not that easy or not that difficult to know in which areas this could be. I mean, I think we showed that in the last 15 years with both Hoffenheim and Salzburg and Leipzig, that even for clubs who were not that prominent as Manchester United, that it's possible to identify, develop, and then even at one stage sell. And I know that Manchester United should normally not be a selling club, but rather a developing and buying club, that this is possible. And I think this is what is most important, that the club finds players for whom it is the next logical step in their career, to develop their sportive career. And if that happens, again, I'm more than positive, and I can also be hopefully be encouraging our fans and being positive towards our fans, that we will bring Manchester United back to the top.